I'm making my Hazelnut Gelt cookies, which are super thick and nutty and topped with sparkly chocolate coins. To get started on my dough, I'll mix up my dry ingredients and I'll scoop in 1 1/3 cups of hazelnut flour, which is really finely ground hazelnuts. It helps with the structure and moisture of the cookie. And then 3 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. This is just a variation on my go-to sugar cookie cutout recipe. And I just love it because it stays really nice and thick. Teaspoon of baking powder and 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And I'll whisk this all together. I'll mix up my wet ingredients now. I'll get 1 cup of softened unsalted butter and combine this with 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar and 2/3 of a cup of powdered sugar. I love the combination of the two. The powdered sugar yields a little bit of a fluffier, softer cookie. I'm adding the zest of 1 orange, and it's just gonna perk these flavors right up. I'll get this onto my stand mixer and beat it until it's light and fluffy. That orange zest smells awesome. I'll crack my eggs and then add them 1 at a time, beating well after each. I'll drizzle in a teaspoon of vanilla. And now I can add my dry ingredients. I'll do this gradually so that they don't go flying everywhere. That hazelnut is really nice. This dough is coming together. The butter smells really good. And now my favorite thing about this cookie recipe, well, other than eating them, is that I don't have to refrigerate the dough before cutting out the shapes. You could if you wanted to. You could get ahead and stick the dough in the refrigerator, but I'm impatient. I just want to eat these really soon. So I'll grab a rolling pin and my baking sheet. I'll dust my counter with a little flour so the dough doesn't stick. Oh, this is such a pretty dough. Ready for this plop. I'll gather it up. Oh yeah, that's nice and soft. Now, my other favorite part about this cookie is that it is destined to be super thick. So I'm rolling this out gently and evenly, and I'll rotate it every so often to ensure that it's not sticking. If it is, I can just dust with a little more flour. To punch out my shapes, I've got a 2 1/2 inch circle cutter, and I'll just cut out my dough. That is the perfect thickness. Look at those clean edges. It's what I like to see in a cookie. I'll just keep punching out my circles and then spacing them 1 inch apart. These cookies look rich. I'll get them in the oven now at 350 degrees for about 12 minutes until they are ever so slightly browned on the bottom. That will ensure that they're still soft in the middle. My cookies are cooling. They smell hazelnutty and amazing, and now I'm ready to make their homemade Gelt hats. I've got some white chocolate chips here that I'll melt in a double boiler, which is a pot of simmering water with a heat-safe bowl on top. It's important to do that with chocolate so that you don't burn it. And I'll just stir this up as it gets melty and smooth. It's already starting to melt. And you can use any kind of chocolate too. Maybe you want to make some extra valuable Gelt and use fancy chocolate. Okay, this is melted and smooth and we're ready to decorate. So this is so easy. I'm gonna take a teaspoon of chocolate, dollop it in the center of one of my cookies. I'll swirl it around to make a coin. That is 1 valuable piece of chocolate money. And sprinkle on some sprinkles. Ta-da! Just like that. Okay, I'll decorate the rest so we can get our dreidel on. So much Hanukkah! All right, I'm going in. They're so soft and hazelnutty. That's my kind of currency.